All 204 cards have now been revealed for Reign of Jafar, including some we're really excited about. Let's take a look. What's up, Illuminators? It's Charlie and Amethyst back, and that's right, the final cards for Reign of Jafar have now been revealed, so it's our opportunity to look at the last ones to get some ideas about what we might be playing next set. The only thing left to look at is the enchanted cards. We'll have videos about those coming up, but for now, let's talk about the cards themselves.
Let's start with the dual ink cards.
And we're going to start off with one of the newest dual ink cards that were revealed. This is Arthur Determined Squire, a Sapphire Steel dual ink glimmer, 4-cost inkable, 6/6 questing for 3. So those are some incredible stats on a 4-cost character. And he has the ability, no more books, skip your turns, draw step. Really, really fascinating one. This is the first time we're seeing an effect that basically makes a player skip one of the steps of their ready, set, draw phase. And it makes sense. When you've got stats this good, you need to have some downside to it. What's quite interesting about something like this is that your opponent has that dilemma that they have to kind of choose whether they want you to start drawing cards again by taking down Arthur, or whether they're happy for you not to draw cards and just be questing. So yeah, very fascinating.
I do like, actually. It's quite fitting because I think it's kind of a double-edged sword.
Yeah, double-edged Excalibur.
Exactly, because as Charlie was saying, right, there's the benefit of bringing a card as powerful as that and questing for so much early on, but you're not drawing. So a lot of the times I was trying to imagine a scenario where my opponent is using this card and I'm going back to my deck with the whole Queen of Hearts, having ways to force this character to be reckless, but also not giving them targets to hit. So they are in that position where they're not drawing more cards, they cannot challenge me.
Yeah.
And they cannot, even if they don't have a target, they still cannot quest because they are reckless, right? So there's some stuff around it, because many times you can try punishing the player or the opponent by using this card. But obviously, if they are in a scenario where they can quest, then it's dangerous because they quest for quite a lot. But
yeah,
I love it. It's such a twist in the mechanics.
It's really fascinating. So I'm excited to see what people do with a card like this. Another really interesting dual ink card next, we have Jeweled Collar. This is an Emerald Sapphire dual ink glimmer, 2-cost inkable item with the ability Welcome Extravagance. Whenever one of your characters is challenged, you may put the top card of your deck into your inkwell face down and exerted. So for those who wanted to build maybe more of an aggressive Emerald Sapphire deck, then this may be the card for you, because it basically adds an additional downside to your opponent when they're challenging, especially if you combo it with something like the Cursed Merfolk, which was one of the examples the devs used during the main stage where this was revealed. Then not only is your opponent losing a card when they challenge your Cursed Merfolk, you're also gaining card advantage by accelerating your ink. So a lot of possibilities in this one for sure.
I love it. Again, I love it. Yeah. It's funny because they were saying we're seeing so many cards now that are making us wanting to play archetypes we were not used to play, right?
Yeah.
When you see those duo in combination. I think they tried to experiment with those in the previous set, Arcasia's Island.
Yeah.
It wasn't fully successful, I think, in my opinion. I think maybe 20% or 30% of the cards were super cool, right? Yeah. Now we're seeing more and more those things taking place, and it's super cool.
Yeah, and maybe less so for this card. Maybe the next card we're looking at, which is going to be the Go-Go Tamago, also from Emerald Sapphire. Well, I'll talk about the ability, and then I'll finish my thoughts. So, Go-Go Tamago, Cutting Edge, 4-cost uninkable, 3/3 questing for 2. She is Floodborn, she'll shift in at 4 with evasive, and has the ability 0 resistance. When you play this character, if you shift to play her, you may put chosen character into their player's inkwell face down and exerted. So this is an example of, as Matteo said, it's buffing up an archetype that they kind of started last set with the dual ink cards. So now there's more support for this Big Hero 6 Floodborn shifting kind of strategy that you want to do. And of course, because there were only 3 cards dedicated to those in the previous set with the dual inks, we're now getting 3 more this set. So I think they're really pushing toward archetypes, like in a way that I don't think they had in the past, where they're kind of like defined around a strategy, and now you can choose, do you want to go down that strategy? What other cards can you put in to make that strategy more powerful as well? And
they said it's a combination of gameplay archetype, but also franchises, right? They try to tie franchises or color combination with franchises, and that's I feel like it's so fitting, right?
Yeah.
It'll be interesting when they have to actually change those as well, because we're going to get more franchises in. One thing that is super cool, as you probably notice, is this is the first time that we have a shift cost that is the same cost as the card. And you'll be wondering why. Why is that? But at the end of the day, it's a strong ability, right? So it's just saying...
It requires that extra setup, right? You've got to not only pay the same cost as the card that's already there, but you're also kind of losing a card because you're shifting this on top of it, because you have to shift in order to get the ability. And it is a very, very powerful ability, being able to put a chosen character into it, the Inkwell. It's something you can use on one of your own characters. So if you play T-Bone turn 2, you accelerate up to 4 ink, and then you play your Go-Go soon thereafter, then you can put your T-Bone into your inkwell to further accelerate. But it's also something that can be used offensively as well, or defensively, to put one of your opponent's characters into their inkwell. Of course, there are some really good synergies, like something like Bibbidi Bobbidi Boo. You can bounce Go-Go back to your hand and then replay her again later on in order to re-trigger the ability. So, yeah.
It is cool. Would you be able to play both of that?
You wouldn't be able to play both.
Shift, right?
You do want to shift. It would be more you play her, you play back the shift target, and then on your next turn you can play Go-Go again if you wanted. And you can even sing it with herself, right? If she's shifting and things try. So there are some combos
you play
there.
And remaining using their additional cost to playing the same turn and trigger that again. And she's evasive, don't forget that.
And she's evasive,
so that's cool.
So very, very cool card. Another archetype that they're really pushing with the dual inks is the Racer archetype in Amber Ruby. So we have Wreck-It Ralph, Big Lug, 7 cost, uninkable, 7/5, questing for 1. This is a Floodborn Ralph, so he'll shift in at 5 and has the ability back on track when you play his character, and whenever he quests, you may return a Racer character card which costs 6 or less from your discard to your hand if you do gain 1 law. So another really, really powerful ability, a good game closer in this color combination, but also a good way just to basically draw cards. And the fact that it's Floodborn, it's on play and when he quests, you could potentially do this twice in the same turn when you play him.
I'm thinking out all the decks that are Racer based, right, with the locations like our friend Alex was used to play, and is always getting to the point of closing the game, right? So we have something here. Yeah. And it's also worth saying, this is the first Wreck-It Ralph Floodborn. I think we've been waiting for all of that since Shimmering Skies. Super cool. And in terms of reveal, this was revealed by the Lumiteers. Super cool review.
So much effort.
A lot of effort. So go check it out on their YouTube account. Amazing.
Next up for us, we have Yzma on the Edge, a 6 cost, uninkable, 3/6 questing for 2 with the ability. Why do we even have that lever? When you play this character, if you have a card named Pull the Lever in your discard, you may search your deck for a card named Wrong Lever and reveal that card to all players. Put that card into your hand and shuffle your deck. So we did see, of course, these two cards getting introduced to the set. So a lot of synergy there around this Yzma and those two cards. Both of those cards on their own, I think, can be quite powerful. Of course, Wrong Lever does rely on Pull the Lever. And now this is a way for you to be able to basically start recurring those and start kind of using it almost as like a mini draw engine if you're able to assemble all of the pieces. But someone I saw during the main stage where they would, I think they revealed this in the main stage. Or
I think they talked about
it, and they were saying how it's like very villainous levels of interactions between all of these different cards.
It's very specific, right? We're literally talking about someone putting all 3 cards to get something to work, and it might not be as consistent. It is an inkable as well, right? This card specifically. But again, I'm hitting the same key over and over again. I just love that. I love when there is a story behind it and a connection between the cards. Especially this one with the storyline with the artwork itself. Super cool, super creative. And it makes sense to be Yzma here.
Yeah, amazing. And then also for us in Amethyst Emerald, we have Magicka Dispel in Shadow form, a 5 cost uninkable, 3/3 questing for 2. Magicka is evasive and she has the ability Dance of Darkness. When you play this character, you may return one of your characters to your hand and then draw a card. So a very fun ability there. Of course, she is a very expensive uninkable card, a 5 cost. Her stats aren't particularly great, but in this color combination with Emerald but mainly with Amethyst, you want to be returning cards back to your hand in order to get their benefit. So if you return Merlin Rabbit to your hand, then you're going to be getting 2 cards from Merlin rather than 1. You can bring things back like the goat, so you can replay him. You can protect your vulnerable characters as well. So there's definitely a lot of utility there, a lot of uses there. Whether it's a card that's able to break through, I'm not so sure, but we'll see. I think it's definitely one to watch. I think it could surprise us, especially in this color combination.
I'm still waiting for Magicka Dispel that we're really gonna use in the decks because I just love the character so much. Hopefully that's the one.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know yet.
A card that I do think you will be using, Matthias, in your decks is the Queen of Hearts, Haughty Monarch, an Emerald Ruby Jewel Glimmer, 4 cost inkable. Sorry, my brain, it's so hard remembering the colors, remembering the correct name for the colors. So she's a 4 cost inkable, 2/3 questing for 3 with the ability Count Off. While there are 5 or more characters with damage in play, this character gets +3 lore. So she becomes a 6 quester, which is the biggest, I think, the biggest quester in the game would be. And it's 5 or more characters, so it includes your characters, your opponent characters, it includes the queen herself. And in that damage deck that Matthias is building and playing at League, I'm sure this is a card that's
extremely easy. I will tell you, if you play that deck specifically, extremely easy to hit the condition.
Yeah.
To have 5 characters, including yours, right? Super, super easy. I wish she was Floodborn. Because imagine being able to shift and then quest for 6 in the same turn. I think don't close the game.
Thank goodness she's not. But
thank goodness she's not.
Alongside, but alongside the King of Hearts, the King of Hearts for me is the card I think that makes this deck work.
Yeah,
because it prevents all of your any damaged character on your opponent's side of the board challenging.
Just on the opponents, which is even better.
So if you're able to set up your big Queen of Hearts, your King of Hearts, and then you play this character, unless your opponent has some removal, then she's really going to be able to just keep questing until the game is over. So I think, at least in a casual setting, I don't know that this deck needed any more juice, but it's definitely got it here. So I
just wish that one day it can get competitive, right? In the same way that the puppies are getting more and more. But it's the right way to go, and I can't wait to test. I'm honestly, seriously, I can't wait to test because this is fantastic.
I'm scared. My puppies are going to get shredded by this Queen of Hearts. Next up, we have at long last the Sultan Royal Apparition. Not the actual Sultan. He is an illusion.
Looks the same.
Yeah, he's a 5-cost uninkable, 5/5 questing for 2. Because he's an illusion, he has the Vanish keyword and has the ability Commanding Presence. Whenever one of your illusion characters quests, exert chosen opposing character. So we've seen a lot of support for the illusions deck this set, unsurprisingly, because we're getting Jafar. This is the reign of Jafar after all, and I do think this is quite a good one. It's a shame that it's an inkable, of course, but decent stats, very good ability. We know how powerful it is exerting characters, and hopefully we're going to see the real Sultan in his physical form in an upcoming set, because it always blows my mind that we got Markowski before we got the Sultan.
I know.
I always come back to Markowski. It's not a grudge, but it's just like Markowski instead of the Sultan. Yeah. So
imagine if he gets it enchanted, the Sultan.
That would be so cool. Next up in Ruby Sapphire, we have Lumiere fired up, a 5-cost inkable, 4/3 questing for 1. He has a Floodborn, so he'll shift in at 3, and he has Evasive, as well as the ability Sacré Bleu. Whenever one of your items is banished, this character gets +1 more this turn. So there was a little error in the app when this got added this morning that said that Lumiere had Evasive and Ward. Yes. And then because of that and because of his ability, Royal Tantrum Enchanted basically sold out everywhere. It went from being a $30 Enchanted to being over $100 because, of course, that is a card that has really good synergy with Lumiere's ability. Being able to banish any number of your items, draw a card for each of those, and then power up your Lumiere so he can quest for a lot.
I just wonder if now they're going to all refund as soon as they actually correct themselves. It's no longer Ward, by the way, as Charlie said, no Ward. But so don't get confused.
But he is Floodborn.
Well, no, he's still a good card. He's still a good card. The Ward thing was really what was pushing above the edge even more. I'm obsessed with this art.
It's amazing,
it's so cool.
I love the steampunk goggles.
Exactly, the thing behind him and the 2 colors of the fire. It's just insane. I think it's still a good card.
No, absolutely. I think it's definitely a good... I don't think Ruby Sapphire necessarily needed another closer. I think they've got a lot of really powerful cards in that in combination. But if you want to go down very much the more item-heavy route, then Lumiere is something that can back up your Tamator or something. Yes. So... yeah, I think this is a card to watch, and even without Ward, I still think Royal Tantrum is going to have some great synergy with it. In Amber Steel, we have Rhino, Power Hamster, a 4-cost inkable for 3 questing for 2. He is Floodborn, so he'll shift in at 2 with the ability Epic Ball of Awesome. While this character has no damage, he gains Resist +2, so basically on turn 2, a 4/3 with Resist 2 questing for 2 can be a very, very difficult target to get off the board for your opponent. So
that's one of the cards that I saw most people, like Steel Song players and other players, really going for. Saying that is one of the best cards for that support.
I definitely think it's interesting because in a Steel Song deck, you kind of want to set up a Singer 3 on 1 and then a Singer 4 on 2, and Rhino is a Singer 4.
Yeah.
So he also has that kind of added benefit. If you need to control the board with songs, you can do that. If you need to quest, you can also do that. The downside, I think, in a Steel Song deck in particular is the Resist 2 means that you can't get your Rapunzel heals off him necessarily. You need to challenge into a 4 strength character. I mean, until he has no damage. Until he has damage, and then he's losing the Resist. But I do think this is quite a good body to be able to play on turn 2 for sure. So one to watch. Another card from Bolt, we have She's Your Person, a 1-cost inkable action, and you can choose one. You can remove up to 3 damage from chosen character, or remove up to 3 damage from each of your characters with bodyguard, so more bodyguard support. It's interesting, right, that it's in the Amber Steel color combination. It's from Bold, but I don't think it necessarily synergizes perfectly with the other cards. I mean, maybe you want to remove damage from Rhino to keep his resist.
And I think it's the bodyguard aspect as well, right? They're trying to get some of that in the Amber.
Yeah.
It's the steel part that I'm struggling a little bit to understand. Sorry, my eyes are closing. I just want to explain why I'm doing faces, but I'm here. I promise.
Why are your eyes closing?
I'm just so tired. Oh my god, I'm just happy that we can relax after the review season is over.
Matthias is like 90% caffeine at this point. Just
so
trying
tired.
to keep up with everything.
I just want to reassure you, I'm here. I'm enjoying this. It's just I can't control my eyes.
And the lights in the studio are
twinkling.
So
bright, they faces like they'll think that I'm crazy.
So
okay, let's go to the next one.
Yeah, our last dual ink glimmer for this set is Ludwig von Drake, all-around expert, a 2-cost uninkable 1/1 questing for 1, and he has 2 abilities. He has Superior Mind. When you play this character, chosen opponent reveals their hand and discards a non-character card of your choice. And Lasting Legacy, when this character is banished, you may put this card into your inkwell face down and exert it. And I should say this is an Amber Sapphire dual ink glimmer, and I know a lot of people are very excited about this card. It's a lot of abilities on a single card that costs 2. Of course, the bare necessities effect of being able to discard a non-character card is going to be very important. Probably you'd want to play this in maybe an Amber Sapphire aggro deck, a deck that I know some players had been trying out, maybe not as strong as it could be right now, but a card like Ludwig helps you remove some of the potential answers to your characters or problems for your characters as well. And then Lasting Legacy, when he's managed, allowing you to accelerate your ink as well, allows you to play more threats on later turns. So I think there's a lot to like about this card for sure.
That's the first time I'm actually reading, and I'm actually blown away again with one of those. Yeah, I'm glad it is at least attached to the profile, right, for the archetype. Because it means that people cannot just overuse just in Sapphire, for example. Right? There's a little bit more balance. I just realized that he has the 2 symbols on the blackboard, right?
That's amazing. I love the lighting of this as well. It's like beautiful. He's in front of the projector. Yes. So, yeah, that will do us for the dual ink cards.
For all of them.
All of them, so we can drop them in the tracker. I feel like there's nothing more satisfying than seeing it just go from like empty to full.
Yes. So exciting.
It was a busy week, a long week, but we'll move on over to Amber.
Let's do this.
And actually, we only have 2 Amber cards left. We're going to start off with Goofy, Pioneering Chef, a 4-cost inkable, a 3/4 questing for 2, with the ability Lots to Do. At the end of your turn, you may remove up to 1 damage from each of your other characters. Ready characters that had damage removed this way. So, actually, a very cool card. The fact that he's a 4-cost and is a 3/4 quest for 2, so yeah, he has really good stats, but he's also a card that is going to be delivering quite a lot of value. He's something that you can the turn you play him, you're already getting value from him if your characters have damage on them, which means, you know, he might not have an end to play ability, but it's essentially something that gets value from the turn you start playing him. I think a lot to like about this one. I think a card maybe you've got to build around. I don't know which color combination it necessarily works with. Maybe with Ruby, where you're self-damaging or you're bringing damaged characters in. It could
I
be.
think it can work a lot with bodyguards as well.
Can work with bodyguards. Yeah. You can challenge. Can it? Because you're ready.
No, but then you're ready. Then you have no choice at that point.
Yeah.
Because it's not you may. You have
no,
to.
you may remove the damage, but if you remove the damage,
just mean if you remove. So maybe it doesn't work that. Yeah, that's interesting. Obviously, it's at the end of the turn. I think that's something that some people online was missing. That specific aspect. Yeah. When the turn ends, that effect takes place, so you cannot ready and keep using your character for questing or whatnot. But yeah, I don't know which color combination to go with. Maybe Ruby.
I think maybe Ruby, where you want to challenge. Maybe Steel if it's a more challenging focus Steel deck. But I think it's a card that has so much potential. I'm sure people are going to build around it. Maybe there's like a new archetype that we haven't seen before.
Independently of how you pair this is my favorite card this set. Like, that's my favorite card this set.
Gameplay wise or
everything? Just because it's so interesting, the effect. And it's beautiful. I'm obsessed with Goofy and Donald Duck, right? I bet this is... should I bet? I bet this is an enchanted. I hope this is an enchanted. I'll rephrase. It has to be an enchanted. Hopefully we'll get to know later this week.
And I love that he's a chef because it just reminds me of Goofy's Kitchen in Disney Disney Springs.
It's just everything is beautiful about it. So another beautiful card.
Our final card in Amber for this set. This is Charlotte LaBeouf, Mardi Gras Princess, a 1-cost inkable 1/3 questing for 1. We know that there are no shift Floodborn Charlotte.
There's no Charlotte. That's the first one ever.
This is the first Charlotte. So not much to say about this one, a vanilla card. I think 1/3 is a great if we do get a Floodborn Charlotte down the line, but maybe for a princess deck where you need some low-cost princesses, then she could fit in there.
I wish she could sing. Oh, I mean, she can sing. I wish she was a singer.
She's able to,
She's able to sing, but I wish she could sing for more.
Yeah.
I can't, honestly, for me, it's crazy to enjoy so much a vanilla card as much as I enjoy this one, but there's something about it that it really excites me.
I think it's the confetti. It just creates so much depth in the picture and the lighting.
It's just having her. I love the character as well. It's funny enough because we interact with Emily, like the artist of that. She sent us a message on Instagram when we posted. And then she said that she wasn't aware that's the first Charlotte, so she was very happy to be. And she said that her personality is exactly like Charlotte's. Okay. So she was very proud when she was chosen to draw it. So
that's so
beautiful,
cute.
Beautiful art, honestly.
Yeah. So let's drop Charlotte and Goofy into the tracker. Not many slots to fill up. And then we can go through to Amethyst. And starting us off in Amethyst, we have Everybody's Got a Weakness, a 4-cost inkable action. Move 1 damage counter from each damaged character you have in play to chosen opposing character. Draw a card for each damage counter moved this way. And another really, really fun card. So this was revealed during the design main stage, and they did highlight the fact that this is a card a card that you have to play around. So if you know your opponent is running this card, then it makes you have to kind of think a couple of steps ahead. You don't really want to be distributing too much damage onto their characters, because if they play this and move all of that damage onto one of yours, banish your character, draw a bunch of cards, that's going to really be a huge tempo play. So I do really, really like the design of this one.
I do. I have a question, like a gameplay question. So let's say that I have 4 damages across my 4 different characters, so 1 damage each or whatever. And I'm moving those 4 damage to a target that only has 3 willpower. Yeah. Does it still count as 4 damage? It does, right? And I still draw 4 cards even though they got banished at 3.
Yeah, because I believe the way it would work is so actions always fully resolve before anything else takes place in the game. So that action would be putting all 4 damage counters onto that character. You would draw the 4 cards, and then a game state check would occur. The character would then at that point be banished. So that's why you would get the 4 cards.
Because it's the same mentality as going negative values, right?
Exactly.
I'm guessing. You can go above it. Yeah. So cool. It's nice to get a Hades that is good. I said that last time. Actually, the last Hades was already good. And obviously the schema, the Sapphire Hades is fantastic.
And actually, this does synergize with the Amethyst Ruby Hades, because that's a card that's putting damage onto characters, and then you can use this to then move.
So Hades is having a good time for Reign of Jafar. Is he the next villain? That's the question.
That is a question. Another really good Amethyst card here is Monstro Infamous Will, an 8-cost inkable, 6/8 questing for 2. He has Rush, and he has the ability Full Breach, choose and discard a card, ready this character, he can't quest for the rest of the turn. So what it basically means is you can play your Monstro, rush him out, challenge a character, and then if you have the cards to spare or you want to discard a card, you can do that, ready him, challenge another character. And I think
infinitely, as long as
you have cards and as long as he has willpower remaining. So I think this is probably a card that's most suited for something like Amethyst Sapphire in a blurple deck. It's a color combination where you're getting to those high inks quite fast, but I feel like the missing piece that deck is needed, because one of the struggles of that deck is wide boards. Monstro basically becomes a one-sided board wipe if your opponent has exotic characters, and of course in Amethyst there are plenty of ways to exert characters
and get cards.
So I do really like this one, and even if you don't rush him out and banish a bunch of characters, you can always be doing things like questing on one turn, readying him, and then challenging him because he can't quest again.
And go for locations, right? You can keep going for different locations and stopping them. He's definitely a monster.
He's definitely a monster. I do like this card a lot. Next up, we have Droon, Ravenous Scourge, a 4-cost inkable, 1/5 questing for 1 with Challenger 4. This is our first Droon card, and because this is kind of like the main antagonist of Rare and the Last Dragon, I was expecting something maybe a little bit more impactful from Droon. I was actually surprised it was an action, I thought, because it's kind of like a...
It's not an action.
Sorry, I'm surprised it was a character and not an action, because I feel like the Droon is like... I don't know, it's not that physical, right?
Yeah, it's hard to tell as well, right? If you just see this art as it is and you don't read it, it's so hard to see the silhouette and the shape. I think that's where it's lacking. But obviously, it's a smoke, right? It's like, how do you make a smoke a character? I think the biggest hint for me, because at first I was like, where is this from? I forgot the name. it was obviously her father just behind, right, when he turns into stone.
Yes, yeah.
So that was the big reference I got here, but it's still nevertheless a nice card actually. Gameplay wise, because it's a +4, right?
Yeah.
How do you think it's too late for a turn 4 to have a +4? Because it's a challenger, there's already the negative aspect of not being on its base, a 5/5, right? So I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's okay. It's probably maybe for like limited formats, it could be a good one. Next, we have the Never Come Back, a 3-cost inkable action. Up to 2 chosen characters can't ready at the start of their next turn. Draw a card. And
I love this.
Another really, really great card. Again, any card that lets you draw a card is often going to be a good one. But being able to lock 2 characters in place, definitely going to be a good ability. It's a shame that it's an action. I mean, it definitely has to be an action, because if it was a song, it would be a little bit too powerful. But really, just as a way as an Amethyst player to be able to slow down your opponent's lore gain, protect your characters. Of course, the thing to say, they do need to be already exerted. Otherwise, this won't have any effect. But yeah, I think other than that,
that's a good point.
Pretty decent action overall.
It's tricky, right? Because you're drawing a card, but would you sacrifice that and change for your other songs or things that is the same, right? Would you replace with Iago? Iago, you get so many more cards. Or sorry, the
Finders
Keepers, right?
Finders Keepers cost 2 more.
I think there's a balance there, because at least you get the benefit of stalling the opponent. But I just love that it's Pinocchio.
I love the art on this. It's super cute. And then our last Amethyst card for this set is Cusco Board Royal, a 4-cost inkable, 1/3 questing for 1. With the ability Llama Breath, when you play this character, you may return chosen character, item, or location with cost 2 or less to their player's hand. Basically a befuddle, right, on a body. So you get a 1/3 questing for 1 and befuddle altogether. It is a shift target for the new Cusco that we did see, but I think cost 2, I don't know how useful that is a lot of the time.
It's too late, right? That's the thing.
Yeah, I think that's the thing, right? Because with Befuddle, you often want to play your character, and then on turn 2, you bounce back whatever they
take away
daisies,
take away all the aggro problems here. It's too late for the type of effect. For the cost that it is, like cost 2 or less, right? If it was a higher value. I don't know. And I really want to like this card because I love the art.
The art is incredible, yeah.
So I keep saying that, but it's just the art is really so good for this set.
It almost doesn't need to be said, because I just think like across the board the art and the art direction is incredible, but
like there are things like this, because for me it's literally there's the smoke effect, the particles, right? It's really hard to deal with particles, I think, and the lighting, the transparency of the particle, right? His sneakiness, like hiding from the guards, everything about it, it's just amazing. Yeah, it's beautiful,
incredible. So we'll drop those cards into the tracker now, and move on to the next color,
Emerald.
And starting us off in Emerald, we have Build the Lizard Chimney Sweep, a 1-cost inkable, 1/2 questing for 1. And he has the ability Nothing to It. While another character in play has damage, this character gains evasive. I do feel like that as an ability, as a condition, is maybe a little bit tricky to set up. I feel like you probably just want to play the 1/1/1 Pegasus. But I do, it's super cool card. It's a real deep cut, right? Build the Lizard from Alice in Wonderland.
Yeah, it's funny that I can only think about Mary Poppins. It's probably like a reference to that. It's a shame, right? Because obviously the evasive part of him is, I think, just to protect him from questing, because it's not strong enough to actually be challenging someone with evasive to take out of the board, right? So I don't know either. I can't see how we would use that. Oh, I just realized down there is all the snakes, right? He's hiding himself from the snakes.
I see. Okay. Next up, another very deep cut from Disney's lore. This is Mad Dog Carnage's first mate. 4-cost inkable, 4/4 questing for 1. With the ability, Are You Sure This Is Safe, Captain? If you have a character named Don Carnage in play, you pay 1 less to play this character. I think we only have 2 Don Carnages in the game. It's a very, very specific ability, but if you're building your Tailspin deck and you really want to include this character, then being able to play a 4/4 for 1 on 3 is good if you have your Don Carnage.
And he's a pirate, let's not forget.
And he's a pirate.
So there's a lot of new pirate synergy coming with this set as well.
Next up, we have Fred Huge, a 7-cost inkable, 5/6 questing for 3. He's a Floodborn, so he'll shift in at 5, and has the ability, now it's getting totally crazy, whenever this character quests, reveal the top card of your deck until you reveal a Floodborn character card. Put that card into your hand and shuffle the remaining revealed cards into your deck. So again, more support for the big Hero 6 Floodborn deck. We've seen quite a lot of support for it this set. And the fact that he is a Floodborn himself means you can immediately get the use out of his ability. As a 5/6, he is going to be quite difficult for your opponent to remove. 6 is that kind of magic number where he dodges something like a Long-Came Zeus. Your opponent will need to use Long-Came Zeus in something else, or they'll have to use like maybe a Maui if you're playing against a Ruby deck. So yeah, I do like this one. And he quests for 3, so you're getting a 3 quester and a pretty good ability to help you with card draw in this deck.
It's so cool.
It's so amazing.
Cool. It's funny, we're seeing this pattern on this set with the gigantic forms, right? With Mickey Mouse, with Hin, with Lilo, the latest legendary Lilo.
Yeah.
I wonder what that is about. If it's part of the controlling the illusions to make themselves bigger, right? Because so far we've been seeing illusions as something negative, per se, right? Controlled by Jafar. So I don't know who is giving them their size, or maybe Alice just brought their
maybe
they're like eating the cakes and going out. I don't know. We'll see.
Next up in Emerald, we have the Sing Together song, Stopped Chaos in its tracks, an 8-cost inkable, and it allows you to return up to 2 chosen characters with 3 strength or less, each to their player's hand. A little bit more bouncy for Emerald. We of course have this very similar ability on the Muses by default, but if you needed more ways to bounce characters back to your opponent's hands, you could do that. But I think really probably one of the weakest songs. Like, it can be impactful returning characters to hand. We know that with something like Mother Knows Best. But I think the 3 strength reduction, the 3 strength requirement alongside this is kind of what maybe is the limiting factor, especially as an 8-cost song. So
yeah, not much to say. I'm just glad that it's harder to use, because there was nothing worse than people
bouncing your
stuff with the Muses.
Yeah. And then next we have Lewis, Endearing Alligator, 3-cost inkable for 3 questing for 1. He is a sensitive soul, which means this character enters play exerted and has the ability Friendlier Than He Looks. When you play this character, chosen opposing character against Reckless during the next turn. The fun thing about this is because he's entering play exerted, it means your opponent is going to have a valid target to challenge into. So if you give something like Daisy Duck Donald State Reckless, then she's going to swing herself into Lewis without any way to avoid it, and then going to be banished because of that 4 strength, because 4 strength is quite a big number. So I think this is quite a fun one. Like, again, it's like good stats, good ability that happens on play. So next up we have He Who Steals and Runs Away. This is a 3-cost inkable action, banish chosen item, and then draw a card. Again, nice to be able to draw a card off an action like this. It can be a little bit more item hate for Emerald, but Emerald did get a lot of ways to deal with items this set. I think maybe there are probably more efficient cards that you would want to run in order to deal with items. Next up, we have Napoleon Clever Bloodhound, a 4-cost inkable, 3/6 questing for 1. Decent stats, but at the end of the day, just a vanilla card. I'm not sure which deck he really fits into.
So he's from Aristocats, right, Napoleon?
Yes.
And I think it's Hin and Lafayette.
Yes, yeah.
It's just funny that they are both, I think, in the same environment, because Lafayette is also next to this pot or this cooker, which also looks like the cooker from the other card, from Trump.
From Trusty, who's also a Bloodhound. So
which is also a Bloodhound. They're all in the kitchen. Of course, it's a different kitchen, I think.
We're getting quite the selection of dogs. We have 2 Bloodhounds. We have Napoleon and we have Trusty. We have 2 Beagles, because we have Lafayette and we have Toby.
And I thought they were exactly the same.
Yeah, I think they're Beagles. Yes. And then soon, hopefully, we're going to get Pugs.
Pugs,
in the
please.
Game,
where's Pocahontas with Pugs?
Pocahontas? We need Percy in the game.
That's our part.
And then the last card for Emerald this set is Tipo Junior Chipmunk, a 2-cost inkable, 2/2 questing for 1, evasive. And of course, we did get the Chaka card this set that you can give a chosen character Reckless if you have a character named Tipo in play.
Now you have 2 options.
Exactly. Now you have a few more options if you want to get that very specific Emperor's New Groove synergy going.
I find so odd that literally if you put this card and a Chaka next to each other, it is a continuous art. Maybe it doesn't line up perfectly, but it is one of those.
Okay.
And then I'm like, why? What is the distinction here? Because unless this card is going to be printed on its original form without the border, right?
Yeah, maybe.
It's just so hard to tell, because it is. I put it next to each other. They are continuous art. So what is the exception? Explain to me, Ravensburg, explain to me.
We'll find out when we open packs. Let's fill in the tracker now for Emerald. And that's a good plug to say you should subscribe, because we will have lots of pack opening and other content when Reign of Jafar is out in only a couple of weeks. And I also want to give a huge shout out to the sponsors of today's video, Heavy Play. Heavy Play have their Equip Mag system, which allows you to connect your deck box to your dice box and your playmat tube, all with the power of magnets, which make it super easy to switch between tables when you're playing at your Sense Championships or any other tournament. They also have their curved sleeves with curved corners, which mean you'll never have a card upside down in your deck ever again. If you want to get your hands on any Heavy Play products, you can visit them at heavyplay.com and use the discount code Inkborn10 at checkout to get 10% off your whole order. So we are going to go over to Ruby, and we're starting out with the first of 2 legendary cards. This is Tinkerbell, Insistent Fairy, 2-cost Inkable, 1/1 questing for 1. She has Evasive and the ability Pay Attention. Whenever you play a character with 5 strength or more, you may exert them to gain 2 lore. And so I guess as a game closer maybe in Ruby, or just a way to kind of get some lore in the mid game, Tinkerbell is potentially something you could slot into a deck like that. If you want a deck that's kind of focusing around the strength matters, so if you're already running cards like Flynn Rider or Maximus, then she could definitely be a natural include in there. One thing to mention is any character with a static ability that affects character's strength, so something like Lumiere Fiery Friend. When characters enter, they would already have that extra strength. So if you're playing a 4 strength character with Lumiere and Tinkerbell on board, they would be counting as a 5 strength when you play them, and you'll be able to gain the 2 lore from that. So definitely some fun synergies around this one, but I do definitely think it's a card you have to kind of build around in order to get the full advantage out of it. I don't think you can just slot it into your existing decks.
And you almost want to make sure that you can play her and play and have the other character at the same time, so it's very late game in a way to get the effect out of it.
Yeah, I think that's a very good point, because how many characters are there with 5 strength that you can play on turn 3? I think there's maybe a couple in Ruby, but not really any other color. So it is, as Matteo said, saying you probably want to be playing a little bit later on in the game. So
who is she holding the hair? It can't be Rapunzel. I don't think she'll be jealous of Rapunzel. I almost wonder if it's one of the people that works for Jafar. Could it be something from Iago? But there's no yellow like that yellow.
I'm not sure. And there's not even any flavor text to help us out. So. But she's insistent. Maybe she's like insisting to Rapunzel, come on, you've got to help with this palace heist. I don't know. But up next we have the final legendary for Ruby. This is Lilo, causing an uproar. 5-cost Inkable, 4/4 questing for 2. Lilo has 2 abilities. The first one is Stomp in Time. During your turn, if you played 3 or more actions this turn, you may play this character for free. And Raw, when you play this character, ready chosen character, they can't quest for the rest of the turn. So super cute card. As Matteo said, another character who's been blown up to gigantic form somehow, so we'll surely find out how that's happening. The first ability, so we know definitely anytime you can play a character or a card for free is super powerful. It seems to be the most powerful effect you can really have in Disney Lorcana, so that one is powerful, but being able to play 3 actions in a single turn is a very hard requirement to meet. Maybe if you're playing her with Ursula Deceiver of All and you can double sting something and then play another action, but I think that is quite tricky to set up. But at least, even if you're not able to get her out for free, she does have decent stats and an ability that is quite useful. She does synergize well with herself. Lilo, Escape Artist, you can use Lilo causing an uproar to ready Lilo if you just played her out of your discard. And it can also be something you use to protect a character, or in Ruby, you could use it to challenge a character multiple times in a turn. So
I do wonder if she could work maybe with Amethyst if you're using a lot of actions to earn lore, because they are usually cheaper.
Like, maybe in a burn deck.
And then you use 1, 2, 3, because a lot of those times you do that and you're like, but I didn't put any presence on the board.
Yeah, that's
But now this will allow you. But I hate saying that. I'm not impressed with either legendaries for this set. They're very complex. I think they can get good, as Charlie said, but they're so specific, right?
Yeah.
And last set I said the same thing. I wanted a better Ruby legendary, and again we didn't.
It's a bit of a shame.
I'm starting to think which legendary we're gonna get, because we always get the most is the legendary that is least playable. What is the least playable this set so far?
You know what? I don't think any of them are like
as least playable
as some of the previous ones, but I also don't think right now on paper any of them seem like they're going to be the Tamatoa or the Scrooge McDuck of this set.
I think Goofy is the most. Maybe Ratigan and Goofy are the biggest.
I think the success of a legendary is like based on which deck that already exists can you just slot it into?
I know.
Because otherwise you need to wait for someone to like crack the code
Yeah.
and come up with it. We'll talk about it in
We'll
our
have
tier
our tier list.
Yeah.
I will think about it until
So,
then.
but at least I don't think there are going to be that many in the
Yeah.
bottom tier. Next up, we have Mr. Snoop's Betrayed Partner, a 3-cost inkable 3/3 questing for 1. With the ability Double Crossing Crook, during your turn when this character is banished, you may draw a card. An effect normally we see in Amethyst, right? Drawing a card when a character is banished, but I think the fact that it's on your turn... he tired. The fact that it's on your turn means you're probably going to want to be using Snoops as a challenger more than anything, and then you can draw the card off that. But there are also those effects that put damage on your characters in order to do things like draw cards, so maybe something synergizing there. Next we have Wreck-It Ralph Backseat Driver, a 3-cost inkable 4/2 questing for 1. With the ability Charge It Up, when you play this character, chosen racer character gets +4 strength this turn. Very specific for that racer deck, but here's a shift target for the new Floodborn Ralph, but I don't think much else to say about this one. Then next we have Gaston, Arrogant Show Off, a 4-cost inkable 4/4 questing for 1. With the ability Break It Into, when you play this character, you may banish one of your items to give chosen character +2 strength for the rest of this turn. Maybe in a Ruby Sapphire deck, if you played your Popsicle and you've drawn a card, then you don't mind banishing it in order to give another character +2. You can always get it back later. But yeah, another one. Strength manipulating abilities, never that interesting for me, really. Maybe if you're, I was gonna say you could put it with Amber, and then you can give a character strength to use something like World's Greatest Criminal Mind, but then you need items, which I don't think you're really running in those types of decks anyway. So. Not sure right now. Next up, we have Honest John, Shameless Fraud, a 6-cost inkable, 7/5 questing for 2 vanilla, but probably a good card to grab in limited, in sealed or draft, because yeah, it's gonna a pretty good body for a 6-cost character that's gonna be difficult to remove without something like Zeus available. And that last Ruby card is Figaro, Tuxedo Cat, a 3-cost inkable, 3/3 questing for 1. With the ability Playfulness, opponent items, this is the translation. Opponent items come into play, exerted. So finally some kind of like item hit for Ruby. Of course, it's only a little bit of disruption. But yeah, it will mean that if you have Figaro, then your opponent can't do something like play a bunch of items and then play Scrooge McDuck for free anymore. So that's nice. And Figaro for me is another character. It's like, we got Markowski, but it took them 8 sets to give us Figaro.
Is that the first time we see Figaro?
That's the first time we saw Figaro.
Oh, I was sure we saw it before.
Well, maybe he was in the back of a card, but we're going to see Geppetto in a bit. We never had a Figaro, we never had a Geppetto.
And we don't have the fish either, right? What's her name? The golden fish?
I don't know.
The fish.
The fish?
Am I imagining? Maybe it's just in Brazil.
The Brazilian version.
There is a fish that Figaro is always like getting very close to the fish.
Maybe. I don't remember.
Oh my god, am I mixing stories up? It doesn't matter.
I don't know. Whilst Matthias tries to remember, we're going to fill in the tracker for Ruby.
I just love this card. It's so cute.
It's so cute. It's so cute.
Ruby.
And are you ready to start in Sapphire, Matthias?
Yes.
So we are going to start off...
Cleo. Sorry, the fish name is Cleo, the golden fish.
So we still don't have Cleo?
We don't have Cleo.
Okay, maybe next set.
Okay, let's go. Let's go to Sapphire.
Yeah, so we're going to start off in Sapphire with Down in New Orleans, a 6-cost uninkable song. Look at the top 3 cards of your deck. You may reveal a character item or location card with cost 6 or less and play it for free. Put the rest on the bottom of your deck in any order, as if Sapphire needed something like this. But yeah, again, it's another effect that lets you play a character for free. The fact that it's a song in particular means that you can sing it with a character that's on a board, so you're not even spending ink. So potentially, you could sing it with a character and then use the ink that you have to play another 6-cost character in the same turn. It is a 6-cost song, which means that it gives Prince Naveen Ukulele players something to sing. So maybe there is a world where Sapphire Amber becomes a deck this set, because I think that's a super powerful combo. If you on turn 4 play your Prince Naveen, play the song for free, and then play a 6-cost character for free. Of course, it is dependent on you finding it in those top 3 cards of your deck, unless you're manipulating the top of your deck with something like maybe Kida, or maybe you have something like Merlin's Cottage in play to see what that top card is. But yeah, being able to play Maui Shark for free, being able to play Tamato or Happy as a Clam for free, very powerful indeed. And I suspect that Prince Naveen enchanted prices are going up right now.
I just had a realization, and you heard it here first. That's gonna be the second enchanted in Sapphire.
I hope so.
Because they had both, right? They had Tiana, they had Naveen. Now it's them together, and this is just imagine this is an enchanted.
Yes. Oh my.
Imagine all the exaggeration and everything. Oh, I hope that's the case. But then it's gonna be the most expensive enchanted, I think.
Yeah, I think.
Because isn't this card one of the most strong cards?
It's a very. It's just because you can play it for free, right?
Yeah.
You can play a character for free, like. Yeah. Even just like imagine you play your Maui Shark, you sing this with Maui Shark, you get in the lore from Maui Shark, and then you play another Maui Shark for free with it, and then because you've still got 6 ink left after that, play another Maui Shark. Why not?
That's it. We'll see.
Yeah, I think this is definitely a card that's going to be seeing some play in Sapphire decks. And then the next card we have is Stitch Experiment 626. This is the legendary card. We guessed when we saw the Enchanted that it was probably going to be a legendary card, and it indeed is. 3 cost, uninkable, 3/3.
We talked about it already.
Questing for 2, yeah. So yeah, if you want to know what the rest of his card says, because Matheus has no patience tonight.
Just talk about it. Just talk about it.
No, Matheus will link our previous news video.
About it. He's talking about so naughty when you play this character.
Yeah, let's talk about the effect at least. When you play this character, each opponent puts the top card of their deck into their inkwell. And stealth mode at the start of your turn, if this card is in your discard, you may choose and discard a card with that's inkable with the inkwell symbol to play him for free, and he enters play exerted. We spent a long time talking about this in the previous news video, so Matheus, because you interrupted me, you can link it at the top of this video.
But maybe our ideas changed because we were not convinced last time.
Yes, so one thing, so my opinion hasn't changed. One thing we said in the previous video is that you could play him at the start of your turn, discard Lilo from your hand, and then play Lilo with his effect. But actually, that wouldn't work because, well, the way the bag works, at the start of your turn, abilities both trigger. When his triggers and goes into the bag, you don't have a Lilo in your discard at that point. So even if you discard Lilo, you've missed the window basically for start of the turn triggers. But yeah, watch the video from yesterday and you'll see all of the details about Stitch. And then we'll look at Anita Radcliffe, passionate about dogs. Aren't we all? I know that would be my title on it. I'm passionate about dogs.
On your grave.
Yeah. So finally we're seeing Anita in Lorcana, a 3-cost inkable 3/3 questing for 1. With the ability I'll take care of you. When you play this character, you may give chosen puppy character resist +1 until the start of your next turn. Firstly, it's great to get more puppy support, but I don't know that this is the most must include card for the puppy deck. Like, I think you're sacrificing puppies in your deck. You want lots of puppies in order to put Anita, and getting resist 1 on a 3/3 questing for 1 I don't think is that solid really as an ability. So
I feel like if it was, as long as she's on board, they all get that +1. That'll be so good.
Yeah, or even when you play all your puppies get it until the start of your next turn, I think then it becomes a lot more interesting. But
just picking one is so hard, right? You have so many usually on the board anyway.
Yeah, so I'm not convinced about that one. And then, yes, like I said, Geppetto finally in Disney Lorcana. This is Experienced Craftsman, Geppetto, a 5-cost inkable, 4/4 questing for 2. With the ability Searching for Inspiration. Whenever this character quests, you may discard as many item cards as you like. Gain 1 more for each item card discarded this way. So maybe a potential game closer for you again in Sapphire. I think Sapphire have so many different tools to be able to synergize with items to gain more through items, draw cards through items. It's really a case of which of those are the ones that help get you to that win condition sooner. The fact that he has to quest, it means that you do need, that turn for him to survive. But it means if your opponent wants to banish him before you can discard some cards, then they are using removal on him. And because he's on turn 5, you can quest with him on turn 6 when you have 6 ink, discard some cards and then bring them straight back with Tamato or Happy as a Clam. So lots of synergy, but I don't know. I feel like there are maybe better cards.
Yeah, and really, I think what is cool is the majority of the time you're questing, you're getting 3 lore, really, like in the worst case scenario, lore. Right?
Yeah.
Like if you have items, right? Because you can still quest with him without doing that ability, but it is cool for a late game.
It is a cool ability. We'll have to see if it can be made to work. Next up, we have Sir Pelennor, Season Knight, a 3-cost inkable, 1/4 questing for 1. With the ability Code of Honor, whenever this character quests, your other characters gain support this turn.
Together, lads, we prevail.
There we go. Not much to say about this one. Again, nice to see the really deep cuts from Disney lore, from Sword in the Stone.
Yes.
But yeah, there we go. He is in the game now. For all those people who've been asking for Sir Pelennor card. Next up, we have oh my god, this is a hard one to pronounce. Atlantean Crystal, a 2-cost inkable item with the ability Shielding Light, exert, pay 2 ink. Chosen character gains resist 2 and support until the start of your next turn. And I think it's a damn insult that they put this in the same set that they put Hamster Ball, which has a much, much worse effect. And it's an uninkable item versus an inkable item. And pricier. So, yeah, I mean, giving the resist 2 can be quite good. I don't know if it'll see that much play, but it's definitely better than Hamster Ball in my opinion. Another item card now, Television Set, 3-cost inkable with the ability Is It On Yet? Exert, pay 1, and look at the top card of your deck. If it's a puppy character card, you may reveal it and put it into your hand, otherwise put it on the bottom of your deck. So more card draw for the puppy deck, and this is a reason that I think something like Anita, you probably don't have the slots in the deck at this point for this card, because you always want to be drawing puppies when you can using something like this or using some of the other abilities. So I do like this one. It's a shame it's 3-cost. It's kind of expensive, but maybe if you've inked all of your cards with Perdita, then you've got a lot of ink to play with.
And you can ramp up faster, right? Yeah, Sapphire, so that's not much of a problem.
It's a fun one. And then we also have Gogo Tamago, Mechanical Engineer, 2-cost inkable, 1/3 questing for 1. With the ability Need This, when you play a Floodborn character on this card, you may put the top card of your deck into your inkwell face down and exerted. So
literally you could use the
Baymax, maybe the Universal Shift, or you can use the
Neo Gogo, which does a similar effect, and you also get the effect from this one.
So you could be doing a lot of fun stuff with Gogo.
It is interesting is that the only... No, I'm sure I'm wrong, but it's interesting that the effect is when she's no longer there, if you think about it, right? Because you're shifting on top of her, and then you're earning the effect. But I suppose there's many cards as when it's banished or whatnot.
Yeah, I think there was the Hiro Hamada card that when if you shift a card on top of him, you draw a card.
Yeah,
so it's kind of
it is cool.
A very similar approach. And
this art is insane.
Yeah,
Again,
so
the
cool.
lighting, it's so
I love the character design as well, the outfit. Next up in Sapphire, we have Little Sister Responsible Rabbit, 1-cost inkable, 1/2 questing for 1. With the ability Let Me Help, when you play this character, you may remove up to 1 damage from chosen character. I feel like we have so many of this like exact sim stat line and ability now. It's difficult to tell them all apart, but nice to see more characters from Robin Hood. I think we saw Prince John ride this set. I'm trying to think if there were any other Robin Hood characters. We didn't get the fox himself. It was only the supporting cast.
From the Jungle Book?
Cars from the Jungle Book. Yeah, I think you have Sir Hiss.
I was thinking Sir Hiss.
I feel like the design of those two is so similar, so it's an easy
I think Sir Hiss has a hat, right? Or making that up?
Yeah, he has a hat. He's a well-dressed snake.
He's a well-dressed snake, yes.
And then the last card for us in Sapphire this set is Rockfort, Lock Expert, a 2-cost inkable, 2/2 questing for 1. With the ability Safekeeping, when this character quests, you may put chosen item into its player's inkwell face down and exerted. So item removal in Sapphire, it is contingent on this character surviving, but you can use it on your own items as well as a way of accelerating your ink. Like if you play Popsicle on 1, Rockfort on 2, and then quest with him and put the Popsicle in the inkwell, pretty decent. So that will do us for Sapphire, and we'll drop all of those cards in.
All Sapphire for Reign of Jafar.
And then before Matheus falls to sleep on us, we're going to go over to Steel. And we're starting off in Steel with Naamari, Single-Minded Rival. She is the second legendary card for Steel. 5-cost inkable, 0/5 questing for 2. With the ability Strategic Edge. I thought it said Straight Edge. Strategic Edge, when you play this character and at the start of your turn, you may draw a card, then choose and discard a card. And Extreme Focus, this character gets +1 strength for each card in your discard. And actually a really interesting one that has like so many possibilities, has so much synergy with different things. Like firstly, like the fact that her ability is when you play her, so you're definitely going to have at least 1 strength on Naamari, but probably by turn 5 multiple strength on Naamari already for the cards in your discard pile. It's an effect that you're going to be able to do every single turn during the set phase, so before you draw cards. So it lets you kind of basically see 2 cards per turn, which again, very, very powerful. But then her second ability, the fact that her strength can basically balloon very, very quickly. Like she could easily by turn 5 be a 5/5, if not higher in strength. And then it's going to get bigger and bigger every single turn, which is going to make her very difficult potentially to get off the board. Synergizes really well with Flynn Rider and cards that care about strength, because she will have quite incredible strength before long. But also because she's filling up your discard, she works well with Chernobog, reducing his cost. And yeah, I think this is a one to watch.
I think that might actually, because I was trying to realize what is the biggest legendaries. This is a little bit insane, really.
Yeah.
Because it's so easy to get cards on this card.
It is. I think, again, it's the classic problem of, like, I don't think she fits into a deck that currently is in the metagame. Like, I don't think you put her into, like, an Amber Steel. I don't think you put her into a Sapphire Steel. But I also feel like she has so much potential, like some of the other legendary cards they said that you would want to build a deck around her.
I think it's just there's so much, really. There's so much. And it's not just character cards, right? It's any card in your discard.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, the likelihood you're going to play her at turn 5 or 6 and you already have probably a lot of cards there, right?
Yeah.
It's insane. Yeah.
So I like this one. I'm curious to see what people are able to
And she's a villain. I think that's something that... Because we're starting another card that we're going to review later, like literally at the end of this video. It kind of hints that she's probably not helping the good guys. You would expect that she would, right? Because by the end of the movie, spoilers, she gets good.
Yeah.
So it's interesting, guys. Beautiful art.
Second,
again. It's really breaking that third wall. Yeah.
Second Naamari card as well.
Second
it's like legendary card. Someone at Ravensburg.
I like this one more though.
Yeah, so this is Nathaniel Flint, Notorious Pirate, a 2-cost inkable 3/3 questing for 2. With the ability Predatory Instinct, you can't play this character unless an opposing character was damaged this turn. In Steel, probably not much of a problem, but yeah, as a 2-cost 3/3 questing for 2, like, we know how like good a card something like Captain Smee? No. Mr. Smee, sorry. We know how good a card Mr. Smee is in that 2-drop slot. In a Steel Song deck, you can play Cinderella on 1, deal damage to an opponent using a song, and then play Mr. Flint. So I do really like this one. I think it can fit into a bunch of different decks, and yeah, just good stats.
Would he replace Mr. Smee, do you think? Because Mr. Smee is always getting damage. Oh, I suppose you like the damage with Rapunzel, right?
Well, so that is the thing, yeah. So with Smee, you can kind of always set up that 2 damage if your opponent doesn't take them down. But in a deck like something like maybe Amethyst Steel, where you don't have access to Rapunzel, maybe you would want to
play this one instead.
But it also means that you need to be challenging on your first turn, which isn't always going to be happening, or doing damage on your first turn. So I don't know, but I do like this one. And he also has like a whole encyclopedia in his keywords, because he's Storyborn, Villain, Alien, Pirate, and Captain. So lots of potential.
And he looks epic.
Yeah, lots of potential synergy there. Maybe he'll go into like an Emerald Steel deck more than anything. Next up, we have Toby Turtle, Wary Friend, a 2-cost inkable 0/4 questing for 1. With the ability Hard Shell, while this character is exerted, he gains resist +1. And actually another character from Robin Hood, so they were saving the best to last. Great to see him, such a fun character from the film. And yeah, we know resist, it can just be such a nuisance to deal with. And as a 0/4 with resist 1, again, could be good in like an Amber Steel deck, healing him with Rapunzel, but I think he's just going to be someone who can quest, probably going to quest multiple times, because he's going to be a real nuisance to get off the board.
I find interesting that the effect is if he's exerted. It's a nice twist on resist.
Yeah,
right.
I think it's funny as well. Like I just think like thematically, like when he's like on his side, he's all protected. So
that is super cute.
That's a really fun one. Next up, we have Dump Truck, Carnage's second mate, a 1-cost uninkable 0/1 questing for 1. With the ability Let Me At Him, when you play this character, you may deal 1 damage to chosen character. I think actually quite a cool card. It can banish something like a Chernobog's followers before they're able to quest, banish something like Curse Merfolk. So definitely some utility there. And even if you don't play him on turn 1, maybe if you play him later, he can be comboed with something like Let the Storm Rage on, or fire the cannons that only do 2 damage to take out a character with 3 willpower. So yeah,
it's cool.
Yeah, pretty good one. Next up, we have Genie Satisfied Dragon, a 3-cost inkable 3/4 questing for 1. With the ability Bug Catcher, during your turn, this character gains evasive. Not really much to say about this one, but he does have the dragon keyword in case you want to build a dragon deck. We did see that Sisu in Amethyst, right, who will let you just keep playing dragons for free.
That is true, because she's also the deity, right?
A deity, yeah. Okay. So maybe there's something there, but there are plenty of cards currently in Steel that give you evasive on your turn. Next up, we have
a Titaya.
Thank you. A 7-cost inkable, a 7/7 questing for 3. I should say she is a Fang General. And the mother of Naamari, right?
I think so. Yeah, it's just she looks very different, right? Maybe she's younger there. I don't know. But
yeah, pretty good stats. Again, another one probably for sealed limited decks. I don't know if she'll see much play in Constructed. And then we have Prince Ahmed, Rival Suitor, 2-cost inkable, 2/2 questing for 1. With the ability Unwelcome Proposal, when you play this character, you may exert chosen princess character. So maybe if your opponent has just played like a Cinderella, ballroom sensation, then you can play Prince Ahmed down to
Or
exalt her.
Jasmine.
Yeah, there are plenty there were so many princesses in this game, so you can definitely get his ability. And another really deep cut. Like, I love that they're really
I know.
looking for some of those more obscure characters that you probably, like me, had forgotten existed.
And please, if you haven't watched it, Aladdin's Castle review of this, it's just brilliant.
Yeah.
You'll have to watch it. Go to his YouTube channel.
And he's
check it out.
a really great content creator, so
Yes.
definitely check out his stuff. And then, deep breath, because we're going on to the final card.
And a good
now.
one
Yeah,
for that.
For this set, for Steel, the Reign of Jafar, it's almost over. The reveals. This is Desperate Planet, 3 cost, uninkable action. If you have no cards in your hand, draw until you have 3 cards in your hand. Otherwise, choose and discard any number of cards, then draw that many cards.
My brain it's just so many words, right?
Yeah.
But it's a good card.
It's a good card. I think the important thing is it's going to potentially unlock pairings like Ruby Steel, because Ruby Steel will struggle with card draw because neither of these colors are particularly good at card draw colors. But having something like this, being able to draw 3 cards if you run out of cards in your hand, better than something like Friends on the Other Side. Of course, it's not a song. So there's that. But then even if you do have a bunch of cards, you can use it as a way of filtering through your deck to find the cards you need. It can be something that powers up your discard pile, so you can play Churnabugs. We've seen a few cards this set that allow you to play things from your discard pile, so it definitely unlocks that as well. So I do think this is a card that's probably going to be quite good this set, but I think it's also a card that's going to just get better and better the more things that are printed.
I think it's really important to look at the second sentence, right? Otherwise, choose and discard any number of cards, then draw that many cards.
Yeah.
So you can't, I think, keep drawing and deciding and drawing.
Exactly.
You have to make the decision of discarding, then you will draw.
Yeah. So I'm going to discard 3 of my cards in my hand of 5, and now I'm going to draw 3. So
you cannot like decide again in midway and change that. Yeah,
exactly. So I am very excited about this one. I think definitely a good one for your draft as well, because card draw is often a premium, and I'm very curious to see how people build around this card.
I think this is gonna easily be one of those $20 or Canadian dollars at least rare cards.
Yeah,
I do think.
So one to watch for sure. And with that, for the last time for the Reign of Jafar, we're going to fill in the tracker. It was a brief one this time, only a week's worth of reveals, but I think that makes it easier.
I like it like that, to be honest.
We're tired right now, but
it was
all worth it. So
a lot to cover, as Charlie said earlier, like a lot. We're going to do Enchanted video. I still have to do the pre-order guide. I'm trying to release this week, now that we have the inside looks of the Trove and the Illuminous Quest. Then we are obviously it's going to cover all the release season for the set release for Reign of Jafar, all the projects. What else? We have so much.
I mean, we'll be doing the tier list. We'll be doing guides for the Palace Heist,
starter decks, or single player decks.
So many things. I don't know how we're gonna fit it all in, but we'll try. We'll
figure something out. So if you want to see that, if you want to watch that, don't forget to give us a like, subscribe, leave a comment, also to trigger the data,
the algorithm.
Feed
the algorithm.
Feed the algorithm, please. But I hope you enjoy what we're watching. We're gonna have way more for you coming very soon, so stay tuned.
And of course, a huge shout out to the sponsors of this video, Heavy Play. Once again, if you want to get your hands on any Heavy Play products, you can visit them at heavyplay.com and use the discount code Inkborn10 at checkout for 10% off your whole order. And finally, a huge, massive shout out to our YouTube members. We really, really appreciate you. With so much content coming up, you're going to be able to get early access to a bunch of that if you are a YouTube member. So if you're curious to find out more, you can hit the join button down below to get all of the details. And with that said,
thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And until next time,
happy questing.